right, let's get into our mini reviews. The first one we want to get into is a movie that was on our fall movie preview, and we were also excited about it. I mean, I was excited about it. Maverick was excited about it. I forget what you thought. For it. You were excited about it. Yeah. The Snowman. Snowman is a British crime thriller directed by Tomas Alfredson. Will Ashton, I think the jig is up with this one. The reviews are terrible, but what can you tell us about the movie? Are they spot on, or do you have some interesting opinion on this?
Oh boy, I don't even know where to begin with this movie. They invited me to a screening of this 3 hours before the movie started. It was like an afterthought. Like they're just like, oh yeah, I guess we should invite critics to this one.
We need a ringer. Where's Ashton?
The jig is up. I guess just might as well let them see it. I like Maverick. I was looking forward to this one because I like Tomas Alfredson. He made Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which is a very good thriller, like kind of a little more slow burn and stuff. One, yeah. But yeah, it's a good film. And then he made Let the Right One In, which is a great vampire movie. Probably one of my favorite vampire movies ever. Not only in the past like 10 or 15 years. Yeah,
I always wanted to see that one. Still haven't.
You haven't seen it?
No.
Man, have you seen Let Me In?
Yeah, the Chloe Grace Moretz, I think.
Yeah, it's like a remake of, Let Me In's a remake of Let the Right One In, right?
Let the Right One In. I remember like the confusion. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it might be deterred a little bit if you've seen Let Me In, even though Let Me In is very good, I think, on its own. But Let the Right One In, I love that movie. But the big thing about him in those films is that like he really brings a sense of atmosphere, kind of like a chilly, but very precise like perspective to each film. So like in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, he has a very kind of sullen look at the spy industry, and you can really see his vision flourish in those two films. The Snowman, I guess just the project got ahead of him because like it's shot in Norway, but like it just could be almost any other European city that has snow in it. And then like Michael Fassbender, well, for one, I don't know if this is like a translation issue or what happened, but his character name is Harry Hole.
Yep.
And no one calls him out or anything for that. He's just Harry Hole, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's a totally normal name.
And isn't Rebecca Ferguson Katrine Bratt?
So yeah, I think, yeah, because that's why I brought this up, because this is, like I said, Norwegian book, so I think there's like a different pronunciation, but they pronounce them just like the way we are, because it's, I guess, at least half an American production, so like they just pronounce them in the most inappropriate ways possible, and the movie doesn't have any sense of humor about itself, so it's just like, oh yeah, these are just totally normal names that aren't goofy at all.
For people who don't know what the Snowman is, though, I mean, what's the setup?
All right, so it's like a part of a series with this character. This is the 7th book in the series where it's this detective. I haven't read the book, so I'm not 100% sure of his character in those. But in this one, he's like this alcoholic, workaholic dude who does not have a family life at all. He just kind of works on each individual case to kind of get his mind off his personal issues. And this one is like one of the first real serial killer cases in Norway, where there is this ongoing unseen threat where all these women are being abducted and later murdered by either their heads are decapitated and put on snowman, or they get their heads blown off and snowman heads are put on there. And the only real connection between most of these killings is that they're mothers, and that they don't really... I mean, actually, yeah, the only real connection between them is just that they are mothers. And, I mean, then every time he does this, he puts a snowman out front of their house, and they play really ominous music, and it's supposed to be scary, but it just looks really silly. I mean, it's basically an airport read. It's like, but we've seen airport reads done well. I mean, we've seen, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. We've seen Gone Girl. Where they could have been really trashy movies, but they have a really precise director who makes them a little more thoughtful and more compelling.
I think what you're saying is that David Fincher is a lot better at this than...
Yeah. Well, but that's, I mean, like Tomas Alfredson is a good director, and I think he could have done well with that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I guess there was a lot of production issues where the production was rushed, and also, according to him, I guess he's making excuses now because he knows the movie sucks. I guess 10 or 15% of the script was not filmed. Which I don't know why that wasn't filmed, but so there's like all these different things. Like there's constant flashback shown to Val Kilmer's character where he has this like really obviously overdubbed voice where he like sounds like this the whole time. And he's just going around, and they never really explain like what his connection is to anything. They just keep showing him, and he's like working on a similar case, and like it's supposed to be 9 years ago, but then like they keep putting it in like it's modern day.
Yeah.
And then there's like this business tycoon played by J.K. Simmons, who is like, he's like helping run the Olympics something, and he keeps like taking pictures of women with his cell phone, and like not really explain what his connection is to any of this. And I'm guessing,
didn't you mention it? Like they just didn't, like a bunch of the screenplay wasn't shot.
That's what I mean. I think this is the stuff that wasn't filmed.
Right.
But I just don't like, I don't know, maybe if they filmed that like 10 or 15%, this would have all made sense. But it just seems like that's the kind of stuff that just clutters the story and makes it more convoluted than it really needs to be. Because the mystery itself, I mean, they don't really make it that mysterious. It's just that they just put a lot of like diversions in the way that you're just supposed to think, oh, I guess it could also be this guy. But like when you watch the movie, it's just like, oh, I guess it's probably this dude, because I mean, that's just the only one that really makes sense compared to all the other characters. And so like you're just kind of waiting for them to do that, unless there's some other crazy explanation for what's going on, because they also just show you at the beginning of the movie what his motivation is. There's no real mystery as far as like why he's doing this stuff. And then also like, I mean, I love Michael Fassbender, but he is just bringing nothing to this role, just because there's nothing as far as this script, I guess, concerned that he can really do with it. And I don't know. They did
start to film this not long before he was doing Assassin's Creed. Maybe he was just out of it at that point.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, I could just keep going on and on about why this movie doesn't work, but it's the only reason I care is just because there are so many talented people involved in this movie that it's just baffling that they made a movie this bad. Like, I mean, it's Martin Scorsese as executive producer. His director, his editor. Yeah, his editor, Thelma Schumacher, is at least a co-editor on the film. The screenwriters are all established. The acting cast is all high caliber, but it's just a really shoddy movie. It's you said that it was like rushed and everything, but yeah. I mean, this movie was filmed like 2 years ago, right? Like a lot of it was filmed, and then they had to add all that extra stuff this past year. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a mess. I mean, I don't know. To me, quality-wise is somewhere between last year's A Girl on the Train, which was kind of like a muddled mess, and Alex Cross, which is just plain terrible.
Which, the whole point of this was they've been trying to create, Universal wants to do their own Alex Cross franchise.
A Harry Hole universe.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole Harry Hole universe. And it is weird that they start with like the 7th book, but, clearly... I think cinematic universes have a common thread of bad production.
I'll give them this much. I think they're going for the same thing as Jack Reacher, because Jack Reacher, the first movie, is based on like the 11th book in the series. So it's supposed to make him like seem more established and stuff, which kind of makes sense. I'm guessing that's what they're going for here. That's why they picked the 7th book. And maybe it's just the most interesting and thematically or cinematically compelling story.
Maybe.
But because I don't know what the other ones are. I mean, they just might not be good stories, but
they all might be beach related.
Yeah. Man. But yeah, it's just a shame, because I mean, a part of me does want you guys to see it just so we could talk about how bad this movie is, but it would just make you have to suffer through this really dull, boring movie that really isn't even funny on its own bad terms. So
we've done worse.
Yeah, I'd give it like a charitable C-, just because I think there are issues of the director's control that prevented this movie from being what he wanted it to be. And I think, considering the talent involved, that there was a better version of this floating around somewhere, but it just does not come together in this version at all. And it's really just an absolute misfire.
Well, yeah.
It left me...
Oh no.
Cold.
Don't do it. Oh. Does that mean your grade is a C for cold?
Yes, exactly.
Is it really a C?
It's a C-, leaning closer to a D+. Like, I think, like, if I were to grade it, like, more objectively, it's probably, like, a D film. But I think because there are issues with it that are out of the film's control, supposedly, I would give it a charitable, like, C-.
Full curve. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. To hear more Cinemaholics, including this episode, be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and wherever else you love podcasts. See you next time.